What's going on, guys? Sharif from ManganasSteel here. And let me start by saying I really appreciated all of the likes and feedback on my most recent video where I talked about the process behind bringing my first OEM design to market, the Kaimano. And just as an update on that, I don't know if I mentioned, but yeah, prototypes have been ordered, and fingers crossed they're going to arrive before Chinese New Year. So we're going to look forward to those. And so the question is for this video, what's next? And so I kind of wanted to address that and take you guys down the road with me on kind of what are my next steps, what am I thinking about, and what are kind of the things you need to be concerned about kind of going forward. First things, I created a Facebook group, and I actually really don't use Facebook, like almost at all. But I am going to return to Facebook specifically for this Facebook group. So if you guys want to get the latest updates, you want to be involved in some of the decision making about different things, like I put up polls in the Facebook group about like steel and materials and things like that with regard to the Kaimano. They're going to be there, and I'm going to put the link down in the description for that. So please join, definitely. And if you're new to the channel and you want to see more about this stuff, please, subscribe below. I'm definitely trying to grow this channel and kind of grow the exposure of both myself and this project. So, aside from the Facebook group, the purpose for me of the Facebook group is to have kind of a more intimate relationship with my customers, and I think that's pretty straightforward. I want to hear what you guys have to say. I love seeing your pictures and the beautiful EDC photography that you guys, do. And really, for me, it's like, I don't want it to be an echo chamber, but I want to get feedback on kind of what works, what doesn't work, what you guys want to see, because I do have a lot of designs already done, and I want to kind of plan the trajectory of my brand with you guys, in a sense, because this is a niche market, and I'm not going to sit here and say I'm high and mighty guy who knows better than everybody else. I want to make tools that are useful and purposeful, and a tool is something that you need to have some degree of feedback on. So first thing I did absolutely was the Facebook group. Now the next things that I've got to really worry about is I've got to file for this as like an official business. I have to create the LLC or what have you. And a buddy of mine mentioned something, and if there are those of you out there who understand this stuff a little bit better than I do, which my understanding is minuscule, to be honest. He mentioned something a buddy of mine mentioned to me that there is a potential opportunity for filing in a different state. For those of you guys who don't know, I live in California. California, we have crazy taxes, crazy restrictions, yada, yada, yada. But he said that there is a opportunity to file in Montana, which would ultimately mean lower costs for taxes and so on and so forth. If that is really something and you know about it, please let me know. I'm just beginning to dip my toe into researching this stuff, and I tend to be a good researcher. But if you have any insights into this, please drop it in the comments below. So I have to file for the business. Another thing that I need to do is look at shipping fulfillment. So this is where I'm definitely having some also, concerns, because a lot of fulfillment centers will only deal with you if you're doing a certain amount of volume per year. And they usually want you to be doing like thousands of units in terms of shipping. And I don't really plan on doing that. If I do, let's say, 300 units 4 times a year, that's 1,200 units. That's not thousands. That's just over 1,000. And that's if I'm doing 4 knives a year, which I'm not entirely sure I'm going to do, mainly because I want to ensure the quality of the designs and the quality of the products is at the highest level that I can do, and while still achieving like a reasonable and affordable price point. So that's one concern. So if you guys also know any like shipping and fulfillment centers, let me know. The concern for me is, like, okay, who's sending me a text now? So anyways, the concern for me is, having 300 units, that I'm responsible for shipping out. I've done this before. I used to have a business, designing and manufacturing drones, and ensuring that all the packages get to the right people. For somebody who is not sort of geared that way, you tend to drop the ball a little bit. And so my thought process is, if I can find somebody in the state of California, preferably within the Bay Area or Los Angeles, that would definitely be ideal. Because what I can do is I can get the knives here, QC them, make sure every single one is good, the action is good, make sure that the lockup, everything is, done right, and ensure that there is a minimum of issues before I ship them out. That would be, ideal. Also, I'm thinking about, I'd like to include some stickers, maybe some patches. I don't know. What are you guys into these days? Because like, I've always been on the fence about this stuff, but I do have like a collection of both. And so like, for example, do you guys like stitched, patches like this, or do you prefer like PVC patches like this guy, or yeah, this is one of my favorite space forks, yeah, like I mean, I have one of my all-time favorites, like the little Wii that my buddy did. Love this guy, right? So are you guys into the patches, or do you prefer stickers? And here is my envelope of just insane amounts of stickers that I've collected from like one of my buddies who's in the tuning community. He goes by the name of JDM Ego, and I also am developing a relationship with Hoonigan slowly but surely. But that's the family huckster. If you watch Hoonigan stuff, this is the stickers with the latest Gymkhana Subaru that they did, which is like super cool. But are you guys more into stickers or both? You know, is that something that you'd like to see included with the knives? You know, or you know, I also like what Null Knives did, which I think is really cool. Was he just created a separate pack? So I specifically bought this because I dig what he did here, where he just created a separate pack of whatchamacallit, of stickers and patches. I actually have his patches on my 511 bag, but what did you think about these, man? I thought I thought these were super dope, right? Really, really sick graphic design. Really, really sick. Getting that holographic sticker, I thought that was dope. You know, the the only issue I have with kind of making them or kind of creating them separately is just that, like, it's kind of more stuff to manage. And I really want, I'm, okay, so a little bit of background about me is I have ADD. And ADD is a great thing in a lot of ways, like medical grade ADD. It's not like conjecture or just like opinion. I have genuine medical grade ADD. I have my whole life. But it's really great for accomplishing certain tasks and like getting things done and being passionate and like focused on getting certain things kind of going. But it also does mean that I have a sensitivity to like overstimulation. And so for me, I kind of want to minimize my potential for dropping the ball with things by kind of just focusing on the knives to begin with. But I do understand that, like, stickers and merch and all of that stuff is part of the game as well. And I see it almost as like a little, like, thank you for being supportive of me, which I am eternally grateful. I mean, the fact that anybody watches these videos and is interested in anything that I have to say and or buy anything that I have designed is just amazing to me, to be 100% honest with you. Yeah, it's incredibly flattering, and as a guy with very little ego, it kind of makes me blush and feel a little awkward. So, yeah, this is where, so, okay, just to clarify what we've said, next steps were to create the Facebook group, file for the business to make sure that everything is on the up and up and that the IRS doesn't come after me, which is definitely a big factor. Shipping fulfillment, graphic design, and, little like merch items. And then, of course, I'm always looking forward, and this is part of the ADD that I mentioned, is looking forward to what's next. So, to that end, I mean, just to give you guys an idea, like, here is a stack of designs and papers and revisions, and some of these are knives that I've already finished and I'm looking back at for reference. Some of them are new. I have tons of papers on my desk, and essentially there are a couple of knives that I'm thinking about for the future. The first one I think some of you have seen. That's this guy. And I haven't figured out a name for it yet. It's going to be, it may be, Rapare, it may be Predatore, or Brutale. If you have an opinion, please drop it down in the comments below. And there's this guy, which is a Swayback and Pikal hybrid, which I also don't have a name for. But this one is also really awesome. I'm really excited. As you can see there, that's kind of how it's going to be folded, and then it has a flipper tab on top. And part of the reason why it does is because, like, here's an Emerson Elvia, as you can see there, love this knife, but one of the things that I've always found to be weird is you pull the knife out of your pocket like this, then you have to do this, and then you need to rotate your hand into the ice pick grip. Whereas, like, if it had a flipper like this, you're already pulling your hand out of your pocket like this, you do the flipper, and then you can immediately transition into the ice pick grip. So that combined with, a Warncliffe style blade will actually make it more useful, because I love this. Don't get me wrong, but it's not for everybody. Like, for me, it's actually really useful. It's phenomenal for taking down boxes if you hold it in just traditional sort of hammer grip. And if you eat fruits and stuff like that, this is really good for, like, peeling or slicing different fruits and things like that. I know it doesn't look like it, but I do love me a good fruit. This is a very interesting knife, but as I said, I don't think it's everybody's cup of tea, and that's where my knife design seeks to sort of resolve that. I'm also thinking about a fixed blade version with a ring, So I've been kind of playing around with that and trying to think about what I want from that in terms of ergos and, sort of knife fighting techniques. So yeah, that's kind of some steps in the future. Now, also on the flip side, I have, like, these guys, which are way more EDC friendly. I can't remember what I named them off the top of my head right now, because it's been like months. But the idea is that it's a small knife that actually fits my hands, and you get the full length of the blade, but the feeling of being, like, choked up because you have this choil directly underneath the pivot. So you can actually use this knife, and I've done even, like, a sheep's foot version here of it too. And both of these were intended to be, I can't remember, I think they're both intended to be thumb stud knives. But yeah, just nice, again, full like hand grip for my bigger hands, but like a nice practical kind of EDC, so this is where the Facebook group comes into play. Like, where do you think the future of kind of the designs should go over let's say, like, the next year or so? So yeah, please, if you guys have any input on filing for the business, where should I be filing it? If you have any experience with shipping fulfillment centers, and if you know one in the Bay Area or Los Angeles, the reason why I'm thinking in the state if I didn't mention it earlier is because I could literally like load the knives up into my car after I QC them and drive them there. But if you have any thoughts or opinions on that, again, drop it down in the comments. Make sure you join the Facebook group, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel, guys. I know this was a bit ADD, a little bit all over the place, but hey, that's me, and I'm trying to be as unfiltered and honest with you guys as possible about my thought process and where things are going. So, peace.